Hello, my holistic soul sisters. Welcome back to another episode on Holistic Soul Sister TV. We are continuing on with our primary practitioner mini series. Today's episode, we are featuring one of my very dear friends. I'm sure you are going to fall in love with her. She is an intuitive wellness coach. She is a Reiki practitioner and the owner of a new wellness clinic in Wisconsin, bringing healing to her local community. She works virtually and in person. And today we are going to dive into all things intuition and energy. This will be a beautiful episode where you're going to learn how to protect your own energy. She will do some education for us. And I'm so excited for you guys all to get to know her. We met many, many years ago through a health coaching based business. And I met her because she was on her own personal health journey. We had very similar stories in the autoimmune space. I was dealing with Hashimoto's and she was on her journey with healing from Crohn's. And so I gave her all the wisdom and knowledge I possibly could to reverse her autoimmune disease. And I got to witness her put in the work and heal her body on a physical level. Then we coached together and helped other women heal from whatever they had going on physically. And then I got sick with mold. Y'all know my journey with that. And she was just a huge foundation in that journey for me, just mentally, spiritually, emotionally, reminding me as a health coach, fellow health coach, hey, don't forget to take this supplement, or hey, have you tried this? Did you have your green drink? And our relationship just grew stronger and stronger over the years. And now both of us has kind of transitioned out of health coaching in the physical space into the ethereal and energetic space. So it's been beautiful to witness her journey as she grows. She has really leveled up in her intuitive gifts in the past year. I'm sure she will talk about that in her story. So I'm excited and honored to have you here, Brooke. I'm excited and honored to witness you continuing to grow and help other women heal, and welcome you to our Holistic Soul Sister community. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me and that beautiful intro. I'm just so excited to be here and doing this with you. It's an honor, and I just feel we're going deep today. It's going to be deep.
Whenever I introduce our guests, our Holistic Soul Sisters need to know, because we're here for the astrology, what is your sun, moon, and rising?
Yes. So I'm a Sagittarius sun, a Leo moon, and a Taurus rising.
And I love the Taurus rising. Y'all know I always say it on almost every episode. I'm a Scorpio rising. And so anyone that is a Taurus rising is an inverted chart of mine. They're a mirror and a reflection. So I love that, not only of our friendship, but the energy in which we share together. The Sagittarius sun makes you so adventurous, so into exploration and trying new things, going through experiences. So you really draw my Virgo sun out of the little organized box that I put together for myself. You show me how exciting and fun life can be. And then because we are holistic soul sisters and we're out here healing holistically and growing spiritually, we need to know, what is your current favorite healing modality that you're using?
I would say right now I'm doing a lot of body work. Again, because of everything we hold in our body. So right now I've really been focusing on the chiropractic and massage. So,
ooh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think, a lot of people see massage as something that's like more beauty or wellness or self-care or relaxing, but getting the right massage from the right massage therapist can really unlock stored things in the body. It's pretty powerful.
Yeah, we can have a lot of emotional release if you're working with the right massage therapist, for sure. So
beautiful. And then what is your go-to spiritual practice?
Oh, so with that, I do so much clearing of my fields, energetic boundaries, right? So that is probably my go-to, just because I'm working with people so much in the energy field that I really have to have that clear energy space, because I never want anything to leach. So that is I must do every day and multiple times a day. Every interaction I'm clearing. And another thing that I love, which I'm going to grab here to help me do that, is the smudge spray. So it is a must. If you
Yes,
don't know, you know.
I totally agree. I have that. I think it's the same smudge spray. I have one that's
Probably.
peppermint and one that's eucalyptus, and I'm obsessed with it.
Yeah, I do lavender for the calming.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, a good smudge spray, especially if you're in places like an office or somewhere where you can't light sage or Palo Santo, but like you're around a lot of people. So
Yeah.
important, especially in those tight, confined spaces.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
I love that. We have just grown in so many different ways over the past few years. And I remember when you were opening up your intuitive gifts, you've always had them, right? All of us have them. And I just remember that phone call that you had with me where you're like, I'm getting these messages and I'm just not sure what to do with them or how to share them. And, I think for a lot of women, we get to this point where we heal our bodies and we raise our vibration and we cut out the toxic energy and the toxic people and the toxic food. And of course, at that moment, as our vibration goes up, our intuitive gifts are going to open up. And so I love that you really help people navigate that journey. And you've helped me so much, even though, it's been a journey for me and I have a lot of awareness. You always bring this motherly, beautiful insight to the situation. So I'm excited for you to do the same with our Holistic Soul Sisters.
It's been a ride. Man, where to even start? So, yeah, I was definitely lost. And I realized that throughout my journey. And as I started to heal, I've seen more and more things in my life. But from a young age, I was very intuitive. I used to see things a lot. I used to feel things a lot. Eventually, I ended up shutting it down because I was so scared of it at a young age. I didn't know what was happening. This wasn't normal. It wasn't talked about. So I closed it out. I pretended like it wasn't there. I tried to ignore it, even though things kept happening. And I just didn't want that to be my life because, again, we didn't talk about this. That was 25 years ago when I was experiencing that. And this just wasn't a topic that we talked about then. Fast forward, at 19, I got very sick, went through a whole health journey and finding out that I had Crohn's disease. And I went conventional. And I am so grateful that conventional medicine was there for me. And in my journey, I was on that for 7 years. I chose that route to help with my Crohn's disease and make it so I could function in life. And I had 2 small children that I was caring for at the time. And so I just really needed to be present and able to do that. 7 years into my journey with conventional medicine, I became very ill. And it was stress induced. So as always, one of my biggest triggers is stress. And I often tell that to a lot of people as well. Number one trigger in your life is going to be stress. If you have any sort of autoimmune disease or just even common cold, etc. Usually when we're stressed, that's when we get those things. So I went through a very stressful period, and this was 2017. Seems so long ago.
I know.
So 2017, and I was at the point where I didn't want to be on Earth anymore. And that was really, really hard for me to see. I was like, I know I need help. And that is when I finally let go of control of my journey. And the most magical people came walking in, Mandy being one of them, and said, hey, here, try this, and gave me all these things. And I dove in, and I was like, this is my chance, now or never, to see what functional and holistic medicine can do for me. And, is this my path? And it changed my life. I went from not wanting to be here to thriving. I'm now on year 6, hard to believe, of being in remission. Crohn's has not been anything that's been present in my life. Obviously, I'm doing all the things still to keep that, because you don't want to slide back, because you can definitely do so, because we'll talk a little bit about it, but life is a cycle, so we have cycles. So still doing all the things, but through my physical health journey, my gifts started to come back about 2 years into that journey with my physical health. And those gifts really started to come forward. And like Mandy said, I started having messages and I didn't know what to do with them. And I realized that I really needed to lean into it, and that it was part of who I was always from day one. My gifts have unfolded in ways that I didn't even realize were possible, because again, this isn't talked about. So it's been a whole eye-opening experience. I recently went on a retreat, and that opened my gifts even further. There's still a journey, and I'm still on that journey of life. And I actually had buried things and locked out memories of sexual abuse trauma that I had. And so, actually, understanding that my Crohn's disease was linked to these blocked out memories that I had stuffed away. So having to grieve that happened to me at age 31 has been in of itself a journey, but I've continued to move forward and just really lean into seeing how everything that happens in life leads you on the path. And it really now helps me support my clients in just one more layer, and really seeing in the body how we store things, memories, traumas, emotions. So it's all beautiful, it's all divine. And even through the struggles, there's always a beautiful piece to see that we can take away from it.
It's just beautiful to hear it from your perspective, because you were going through it at times. And the thing that I think I admire the most in you when it comes to, just as a woman, but also as a business owner, but also as a healer, is that you truly follow your intuition. You have that beautiful feminine essence, and you have this way of just trusting the messages that you receive, trusting the guidance that you're given, trusting that going on this retreat to another country solo when you've never been is for you. And I just sometimes go like, I have intuition, but I challenge it, right? I'm like, I don't know. Is that a message? Is it not? I'm pulling my tarot cards and I'm like, oh, I got to pull another one. Is that the right message? I don't know. Right. And I think that's for a lot of us. We can have all the intuition in the world, but trusting it is actually another layer to that practice. And you really embody that. And so it's beautiful to see you work with that in your own life, but then help other people step into that. And something that Brooke also helps with is children who are intuitive. She's a mama of 4, and through her own spiritual gifts, she's been able to identify the gifts within her own children and to protect them from energy, to help them work with energy. And I know that you've also helped clients with psychic children and intuitive children. The parents understand the gifts of the child, but also from a young age to help the child work through that. And I know that's something that you probably were really craving or wishing you had support with when you were a child experiencing those gifts. So I love that it's kind of this full circle moment in your story.
Yeah, absolutely. It is definitely one of my passions. And I believe we're really shifting. And you talk about this a lot in the astrology. But our times are shifting, and our kids are coming in with gifts that are even stronger than our own. And at levels that we have almost never seen. And this will become normalized. And so it's really going to be important in this like new earth that we're birthing right now, that our kids are supported from birth to being their authentic selves and their intuitive little selves, because we are so intuitive from 0 to 7. And then after 7, we really start to fall into the programs of our parents, school, just our friends, all the things around us. So it's going to be so important that our children are supported and that we bring awareness to how intuitive everyone on this planet is. Like, and we all have access to these gifts. But it is going to be a new level. And I'm so excited to be here for this time on our earth. It's just so exciting. Like,
And it's great to hear you say that, because I think so many people are living in the darkness of what exists in our society today, right? And it's real. Like, we are going through a Pluto return in the United States. We are going through the darkness. We are crumbling foundations so we can rebuild anew. But it's people like Brooke and other light workers that see this vision of beauty. Like, I get goosebumps talking about this right now, like full body goosebumps, because in the darkness, there's always the light. There's always the light workers leading the path. And even just hearing you say that sentence of like, what an exciting time it is on earth, I think there's a very few minority that genuinely feel that way. And so if you're listening to this episode and you're just like, what is that girl talking about? Like, this world is chaotic. She's holding the light and it's going to get better. Like, through all darkness comes lightness, and there has to be transformation. And again, that is why we are doing this mini series, to introduce these primary practitioners that are holding the light, that are guiding the way, that are saying, hey, like, we got to overcome these things, and we all have these gifts to be full of light and full of healing. So I'm just so glad that you said that and brought that up, because that's a reflection that not a lot of people have.
yeah, everything's balance. With the light, there's darkness, like you said. And those of us that are here on earth, we're going to have to do the work. And that's what I'm seeing a lot in my clients. And I know we'll talk about this probably more later, but a lot of people are starting to see that there's more, and are looking to clear out the heaviness and the darkness that they're holding inside. And this is in perfect alignment with, we're really in this like almost death phase, so that we can have this rebirth. So there's lots of people that are starting to come into the space that are ready to let go of those things that they need to let go of, so they can move forward into the lightness and the joy and the abundance and all the beauty.
Yes, so beautiful. I would love for you to take a moment to kind of share like your area of expertise, to kind of help our holistic soul sisters truly understand the niche or the space in which you work. So, can you kind of just define a little bit deeper what you do, your area of expertise, kind of what is that calling? What is your bread and butter?
Yeah. So, like Mandy said, I just opened up my Inner Wellness Center in Appleton, Wisconsin. So I'm hoping to bring in some more practitioners to help with mind, body, and soul health, because that's really my passion, is helping people reconnect to their body. We have become so disconnected from our bodies by our food, by the constant need for social media, or like being on your phone or like whatever, and just dissociating from our bodies because of like the emotions or the traumas that we've carried that we don't want to deal with. So my practice is really built on helping people reconnect to their body and bringing you back to earth, grounding you back down here, so that we can release these things and do better for our health. So I do help clients. I'm a holistic wellness coach and Reiki practitioner. So, you may walk in this door and we may focus on your physical health, changing like lifestyle habits, or we may go in energetically and look at, things from childhood or emotions or current things that you're going through.
I love that. I love that's all encompassing, that you don't neglect a certain part of the person, and whether they come in thinking it's one thing and leave going, wow, I had this total epiphany that it's actually this thing. I love that you kind of just see the person in their entirety. So that's really beautiful. And I know
Yeah.
you shared a little bit in your story about your why, but can you share with us like just a little bit deeper on like what is your why?
I feel like that's definitely changed over the years. When I was in health crisis mode, my why was for me, so that I could be here to live, and also for my family, like to be here to not just be a shell, but to truly be here and see the beauty in their lives too, and to support them. But now, as I've kind of gone through all that, again, going back to the my why really is to help people reconnect to themselves, to figure out who they are, what their path is, and letting go of just that heaviness, knowing that that's not your truth. Your truth is love and abundance and lightness, and just being out there and letting like your inner child, that playful person, come out to like life isn't meant to be hard and stressful. You get to live life with ease. And so that is why I'm here every day. Showing up for people is to spread that far and wide.
So beautiful. So beautiful. And, you know, of course, there are people in your niche that do similar things, but you have a very unique how that you go about this healing work. So, can you kind of share with us what sets you apart from other practitioners in this space and how you have kind of formulated your own way to help people get to this end goal of living life with ease and abundance?
I would say what really sets me apart is when I work with someone, I let the client lead. And what I mean by that is when you walk in my door, I'm listening. I'm truly listening to you, but I'm not only listening to the words you're saying, but the words that you're not saying. Because, again, like Mandy kind of briefly mentioned, you may walk in my door and think that you're needing help with your gut health or, anxiety or whatnot. But, like, as you're talking to me, I might be like, no, there's definitely like an emotional component or like an energetic component. Maybe you're super sensitive. So these are definitely client led. So the one thing that I learned in my journey is the power is in our hands. So with each client that walks through my door, I want them to truly know that the power of their health is in their hands. Any practitioner, no matter who you go to, functional, conventional, they are not your savior. Your health is in your hands, and ultimately, you are the advocate for you. I want anything that we do together to feel good to you and to feel alignment with you. So I really, really focus on giving the power to my clients and showing them that they are capable of healing. It's not me healing you, but you are choosing to heal yourself. You're choosing to do the work.
Oh, that is so beautifully said. And I know you don't know this because at the time of this recording, I have not released our introduction to this mini series on Holistic Soul Sister Radio or TV. And in that intro that I've already recorded, I give a little intro in why we're doing the primary practitioner program and what our Holistic Soul Sisters can get out of it. But at the end of it, I list 5 ways that you can find the right healer for you. And the number one thing I shared in finding the right practitioner for you is that the practitioner has mutual respect for you and that they see working with you as a relationship and not a position of power or authority over you. And that's like exactly what you just said. I said, you're going to find the right practitioner that wants to work with you, that collaborates with you, that listens to you, that hears what you're going through and adapts their way and their modality to your specific needs. And that's how you find the right practitioner. So that's a
Oh my God.
perfect reflection of what I shared. And then I list 4 others, but you'll have to go back to the intro episode to listen to it. But yes, huge and so important, no matter if it's massage, if it's a doctor, if it's, an intuitive wellness coach, like whatever you're needing assistance with, yes, there has to be this energy of collaboration. Like you are the one in power. You're the one hiring them. We already know that they're an expert. Otherwise, you would just do it on your own. Like we already know that. But there has to be that element of them meeting you where you're at. And I love that you do that with your clients.
Oh, thank you. That's so beautiful. I love that you had that in there.
So now we get to the fun part where you're going to teach us some good stuff. And I know that your expertise really is in our energy, protecting our energy, holding our energetic space. So I am going to let you lead and teach us your knowledge. Just share with our Holistic Soul Sisters what the topic's going to be, what we're going to talk about, and then just go ahead and dive in. I'm going to sit back and listen because I always learn when you share your gifts with us. So I'm really looking forward to this.
Yay. Thank you so much. Mandy, feel free to slow me down anytime because sometimes I get channeling and it's so fast.
We're here for it. We're here for it. Whatever needs to come through, whatever message you're being channeled with, you just go right ahead and share it with us. I got my cup of tea. Any holistic soul sister listening, you go grab your cup of tea and just prepare to be enlightened.
Energetic practices has really been what was coming forward today, and just really realizing that we all are intuitive. So with that, first I kind of want to touch on what are some simple signs of your intuition, right? People are always like, what do I look for? How do I know I'm intuitive? When I tell them that, they're just like, well, no, I'm not. There's no way. They just don't believe that they can have it too. But like I said, we all have these gifts, and it's really been a lost, I like to call it the lost art, because it's been so lost. And a lot of that was because they don't want us to realize the power that we have in that connection. So one simple reference that I use a lot is when you get those gut feelings, those gut instincts of maybe I should go turn left here today instead of go right. And you're like, well, that's weird because I always go the same way. But you're like, I don't know, I just feel like I need to turn here. Little do you know that's your intuition. There may be a reason that you didn't turn right and you decided to go left, a different route. Maybe it was to avoid an accident. Maybe it was to avoid a delay. Maybe you would have hit a bump and spilled your coffee all over yourself. It could be anything, right? We don't know. And we're not meant to know everything. Why? When we tap into our intuition, really releasing that why, because we can get so lost in well, why did I do this? Or why did I not do that? And it doesn't matter, because if you're leaning into your intuition, just trusting that, like Amanda said, really trusting our intuition, because it's always guiding us. And it can be obviously bigger things, but I just like to use a simple, relatable experience for people, because we're usually all out there driving at some point. But just even to another one outside of an example like this is having conversations in our head, right? So everyone's like, oh, I'm always talking to myself in my head, or I feel like I'm, having a whole conversation with myself. You're actually not. You're actually having a conversation with your higher self, with God, higher power, whatever you believe in, your spirit guides, your ancestors. You think you're talking to yourself because there's so many misconceptions about well, if you're intuitive, you're hearing other voices, right? But that's not the truth. For most people who are in their intuitive gifts, the voice is the voice of your own. So those conversations you're having with yourself are actually with those higher beings, your higher self. And so those are like two simple ones that I just like love to point out, because people are like, oh my gosh, really? Like, it's as simple as that? And I'm like, yeah, so like you're using it every day, even if you don't realize it. Because how many of us have conversations with ourselves daily? Like, we all do it. I will be interested to see if there was someone that actually says they don't have those conversations with themselves in their head. But so just knowing that like those are two simple things of like seeing intuition first off. And then the other big one that I really, really have found important as we really move forward is knowing the difference between what is yours and what is not. So, with us all having these intuitive, empathic gifts, we all kind of have like different strengths, right? So, some people are really, really in tune with how others are feeling, and others are just more like in tune and intuitive with themselves and just like that connection. So, we all, though, can do both. So let's not, say that like you can't have both, because you definitely can. So a simple, like, kind of a life example for what do I mean when I'm saying know what's yours and what is not. You are at the gas station and you're filling up your car, and you're at the pump and there's someone next to you on the other side of the pump. And then like you're having a great day, right? Because it's early morning, like it's fresh start. And you go inside, you maybe grab like a water or an apple or something quick because you're in a rush that day. Like you need to get where you're going and you forgot you needed gas. So you like go inside, you grab those things, you walk past like different people, you go up to the cash register, you pay, you have an interaction with that person, you come back to your car, you start driving, and all of a sudden you're super irritable. Your mood has just switched. Or maybe all of a sudden you're super sad, like, or just like feeling just off. And you're like, well, what happened from that, like, moment that I went into the, pump my gas, went inside and came back out? And we all take in the energy of others around us. So anyone that you come within 3 to 5 feet of, your energy field is interacting with theirs. So maybe that person at the pump just, lost someone in their life, and that's really heavy on their heart. Or maybe someone inside, their morning didn't start off great and they're just like super irritable. And maybe another got into an argument with a spouse or a friend or their child, and now they're kind of angry about that. And you come back out, and little did you know you had, even though you only really talked to the cashier, but you come back out and you're just in this totally different headspace. Little do you know that, like, all those, even though you only talked to one person, you took on the energy of 5 other people. And so this is why we have to be super mindful of where we're at in our days. How do you feel when you get up? How do you feel after, whatever your routine is? How do you feel after you get to the work? Or how do you feel after going to the gym? Has your mood shifted? And what has happened in your day to see, is it something that I'm personally feeling? Or did I pick up something from someone while I was out and about in my interactions? Or even with our phones, texting friends, that's still an interaction, even though they're not 3 to 5 feet within us, but that is an energy exchange because whatever they're texting you about, whether it be joyful or, just like venting, that's still an interaction. And so knowing that everything is an energy exchange is really going to change your life. Because we can clear these things from our fields. So that's why it's important of knowing if it's yours or not. And something simple that I recommend to people for clearing your field is simply just if you feel like your mood has shifted and you're not sure, right? Like, is this mine? Is this someone else's? And you're really unsure, just repeating this, and it can come out however it feels aligned to you. It doesn't have to be these exact words. It's just what feels like it needs to be said for you. But you can say, if it is in my highest good, please release any heavy or energetic cords that have attached to me. If it is in my highest good, please release these heavy energetic cords that are not meant for me. And you say it 3 times at least. Or you keep repeating it until you feel like it's completed. And you're like, well, how do I know if it's completed? You'll just know. You'll just stop. You'll just keep saying it until you feel like, okay, yep. And oftentimes what I see with people that I share this with, like clients, friends, I'll be like, hey, try this practice. And they'll be like, oh my gosh, are you supposed to feel instantly lighter? Like, what just happened? And I'm like, yep, that means it was someone else's. Like, it wasn't yours. So notice that, see how you like the difference, and realize, wow, how powerful these energy exchanges are. So that is like the simplest one that for people to be like doing like as you're going through your days. Because again, it's about taking the power in your hands, you having the tools to change your life. So doing that, and if it doesn't clear out, then really sitting with what happened in your day and just saying like, okay, maybe I did have this interaction with my spouse or, a coworker or whoever, and it really made me feel X, Y, and Z way. And then being like, okay, I feel this way, but maybe there's more to it. Oftentimes the things that are happening in our lives are a reflection of something we need to see deeper within us. And so really sitting with, and you may not get the answer right then and there, but just even acknowledging that whatever the conversation was and why you started to feel just like irritable or like, I don't really want to talk about this, or, kind of like brushing it off, or you just feel like it really affected you. Sitting with and just seeing what is the deeper reasoning behind why that affected me so much. Because a lot of the times when I do work with clients on this, I will see that typically it stems from childhood. There's something in childhood that is coming up, or, earlier in their life that they dealt with, and it needs to be seen. And these, what I call triggers, have to be seen because it helps us grow in our lives. Sometimes we can grow out of them. Sometimes they're lifelong triggers and you're like, that's not what I want to hear, but it's realistic. I'm always going to be real with you. That's a Sagittarius coming forward for you. Always saying the truth.
Always.
some of these things are with us for life. And even though you may have these triggers for life that always kind of like bring you back to this, the more you see it, the more you can shine love to it and compassion for yourself. Because whatever it is, it was deep for you. You felt that at your core and carried it with you in your life because it really affected you on some level. And like just loving that version of you and seeing it and honoring it. It's okay that it's part of you because we all have our things, right? No one is perfect. We like to sometimes maybe think we can be perfect, but it's just unrealistic pressure on ourselves that's unnecessary. Just giving yourself so much grace and compassion in life is super, super critical, because we all are on our own journeys. But really, really differentiating what is yours and what needs to be seen versus the things that we're unnecessarily carrying from others. So I hope that that practice really helps you. I would love to hear feedback. So I'll have to check back on the comments on this podcast when it launches, just to see how people are doing with even that practice and if they notice the differences. Because I love to hear people be like, wow, like even something that seems so small can be super life changing. And that's really what I'm here to do, is just bring awareness to these things, shine light on these things. Because like I said, your life is meant to be easy. It's meant to be joyful and filled with fun and love and peace. And it doesn't mean that we never have to go through anything. Obviously, I've been through enough myself, but it's really about reframing your mind. And like I said, there's always something beautiful, even in the pain, that we can take out of it. So,
Oh, so good. I mean, as you were talking, I just sat here and took notes on my phone because I felt like I got like an intuitive download and an aha and like all these things. So, do you mind if I kind of share some of them with you in
yeah, I'd
reflection?
love to hear it. Yes,
Okay,
please.
so the first thing is you were talking about how your guides, God, angels, whatever, talk to you in your own voice.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always known that. I mean, I listened to my own inner voice, but I had this like little epiphany as you were sharing that. The way that you communicated that is, of course, they're going to talk to you in your own voice because that's what's comfortable to hear. If
Yes.
all of a sudden you're hearing different tones in a man's voice and you're in a feminine body, like you're going to be like, oh my God, what was that? And you're going to start thinking you're crazy. And instead of hearing the message, you're now going to go into panic mode and you're never going to receive the information you're meant to receive from source, God, spirit guides, your higher self, whatever. So I was like, oh, of course they're going to talk to you in your own voice so that you actually hear them. So that was like a duh.
Yeah. Which, made me go like, yeah, because you would go like conventional, right? And be like, wow, I must have like schizophrenia, or like try like start diagnosing yourself with stuff. So yeah, it definitely like is so that you're not like, whoa, like what? Like it would just be too much for our bodies too, and our nervous system. Our nervous system would become like so unregulated, even more than like maybe we're already experiencing. So definitely keeps you more like level and, like you said, comfortable with that.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up because I do think a lot of people think, oh, others who have gifts, intuitive gifts, those people must hear voices in a different tone or in, a different frame. And so I don't have that. I'm not hearing voices. Right. And
Mm-hmm.
so, yeah, I'm just so glad that you brought that up. So then the next thing you talked about the gas station example. And as you were kind of sharing like the interaction that you have as you go in and come back out to your vehicle, you pass by people and your energetic field is interacting with their energetic field. And if you're thinking like, oh, that's really woo woo. It's actually not. It's like very quantum physics, right? It's like everything is energy. There's an equal response. You know, you move energy over here, then energy is going to fill that space. Like it's not being created or destroyed. It just is. And so as you were kind of sharing how you had a great day and you go in with light, you're picking up other people's maybe challenges or heaviness. And the thing that downloaded with me is, you know how when you're like just like having a really good day and you like go to the grocery store, you're out in public and you're like, oh, I hope you have a great day, and you're smiling and you're joyful, and the more light that you have, you also spread that, you know, like it's not just the darkness that you pick up, but it's also like now that person is feeling your lightness, right? They smile because you smile. And so it was just kind of that reminder for me that as I go out into the world to really hold that lightness and to try to shine my 3 to 5 foot radius even bigger. So that was beautiful to kind of reflect as well. And, yeah, just that reminder that like we are going to pick up things. Like you want to give your light to someone, but you're going to probably in energy exchange take on some of their heaviness, like having a conversation with a friend who's really going through things. You're going to show up with the intention to bring light and help them overcome it, but you are probably going to go home with some of that heaviness. So I love that you shared that mantra. I think that's absolutely beautiful for everyone to incorporate. So that was really cool. I have 2 more. I had so many downloads.
I was gonna say, I'm glad you brought that up because yes, it is like important to realize, like you said, like you're in a like you're having a great day and you're, you know, passing all that joy. So like it definitely works both ways. It's not just negative things that you can pick up, but it's also the joy. So like you could be having a crappy day and like your day is totally turned around and you're like, whoa, I don't know what just happened, but I feel so great. Like it was just maybe someone like shared some love with you. So I love that you brought that up too, because definitely want people to know it works both ways.
Yes, that was so beautiful. I got that message. And then you talked about the text message thing. You know, a lot of people, I think, with our phones, we assume because we're not in that person's energetic field, we're not in front of them, that if someone texts me, that it's just me and my energy and my bubble, and it has nothing to do with what they're feeling because it's just a text message. But, you know, if thinking this concept of energy exchange when the person's like in Wisconsin and I'm in Florida, okay, if that's too much for you to like conceptualize because it's too woo-woo, I want you to think of it this way, because this is something that I learned that made me go like, oh my gosh, every time I'm scrolling on social media, I'm taking in energy. Because what I learned is that when you're reading the words have an energetic meaning behind them, right? So I'm reading the word, it's processing in my brain. That brain makes me think, oh, it's this emotion when I see this word, right? When you see the word illness, you have a certain emotion. That's a vibration. When you see someone say, I had an amazing day, that's like a reaction in your brain where you're like, oh, I'm so happy for them, right? And we know that this is real because imagine if the person sent the exact same text message to you in another language. You would have no emotional reaction to it whatsoever because you don't know what it says. And so, you know, we have to be so careful with the texts. And when we're reading our text messages, like, don't just be willy-nilly, like first thing in the morning, just looking at your phone because you're so open at that time. Or maybe you're about to walk into your house at the end of a really long day and you just want to scroll social media in your car. Like whatever you pick up, you're going to take into the house with your family, right? And so that was like just such a like reminder to me to be so protective of what I'm reading and not just the people around me. Because I think I'm so obvious where I'm like, oh, I don't want to be around that person today because they're usually in like a heavy space. And I just, not today for me. But I always forget about the social media and the texting because I just, even though I know, it's not so concrete, I guess. So
we all need those reminders, like, right? Like, it just is. We all need them.
So I'm so glad that you reminded me of that. And hopefully some of our holistic soul sisters listening have that little reminder as they move forward in their days. And then the last thing, which was like amazing, and I think you have to shout it from the rooftops, is as you were talking about the mantra and how to clear your own energetic field, how important and how beneficial would this be to our family units if every person before they came into their home in their car on their drive home from work after they've had a stressful day, or maybe they were out with friends, or maybe they were at school, before they walk into their home, they said this mantra to clear their energy before they approach their family and the ones that they love. I was like, if we could all
Yeah.
do that, how better would that transition be of coming home from work and hugging your partner or seeing your partner? Like, you would let go of so much that isn't even yours.
Yep. So I love that you brought this up because I actually do this with my children at times. When they get in the car and they're immediately crying or whining, or like you can just feel, you know, the like almost like what you would call like anxiety, like the anxiousness, they're really struggling. And part of it is like there's a lot of stimulation, right? But another like huge thing as I see as this intuitive conscious mother is how much the other kids that they're around all day and their teachers and everything, how much they're absorbing. So I've gotten home and I just did this with my daughter now that we finally don't have snow on the ground. But she was having a particularly rough day when she got in the car, and I was like, nope, she needs like help. Like a lot of this isn't hers. So we got out of the car and I said, take your shoes off. She's like, why? And I was like, put your backpack down, take your shoes off. I'm like, stand with me in the grass. And we stood in the grass barefoot, holding hands, and we started doing some breathing. And I'm gonna cry because it was just so beautiful. But
How old is she? Remind everyone how old she is.
7. So she's 7. So you can definitely start these younger too. Because I do things like this with my younger kids too. But I stood there with her and we were breathing, and she started to laugh. And she was like, Mom, what are we doing? Like, I feel so funny right now. And I was like, that's good. I'm like, because so even touching our children is a form of energetic healing, because I was holding her and I was just like seeing her, and like we were breathing to release those things that weren't hers and grounding her in the earth. That's why we're standing on the grass barefoot. But she started to laugh and smile, and like this goofiness came back out. And I was like, how do you feel now? And she's like, oh, I feel fine. Like, it's all good. And I was like, okay, good. That's definitely what you needed. Like, so it is so, like you said, like just doing that with her family members, whether they're old enough to do it on their own, or, you know, you implementing those practices with them and taking, you know, that took us 5 minutes, maybe like taking those 5 minutes and just doing that with them. And you don't even have to do that. You don't have to be in the grass. But I was like, what a great way to incorporate nature and bring her like grounded again. But things like that really can change, like you said, the mood of the household, because we could have easily gone into the house and that could have affected all of us on the rest of the night. Just because it's all energy, that exchange. So
Yeah. And I think that's so beautiful because, you know, I'm not a mom, but a lot of my friends are. And I hear that they struggle with their children, you know, with their anxiety or their energy, or they can't get them to sleep at night, or they come home from school and the household is just chaotic for 3 hours. And it's like, hold on, like there's a way to take that energy down a level and to do these little mini rituals, you know, and it would shift the entire, like you said, energy of the evening. It would put everyone at peace. It's not even just about the parents being at peace. It's truly about the energy of the child being able to be a kid and be lighthearted and play and laugh. And children are so creative, right? They just get out a crayon and just make up stories. But if they're stuck in this density and this heavy energy in a chaotic environment, their own intuitive gifts and creativity won't get to flourish. So I think it just has so many ripple effects. And I'm so glad that you are here with us, not only on the podcast, but here with us on Earth, spreading this message and helping, you know, just guide joy back into families. So it's so
Thank
beautiful.
you. Thank you. Thank
So,
you.
I mean, so, like I said, so much wisdom, so much knowledge. I would love to hear from any of our holistic soul sisters. If you listen to this episode and you have any ahas or downloads that you got from Brooke's knowledge or education, please share it with us. You can hop over to the Facebook group. Brooke is in there. She will answer any questions that you may have. She will be doing a Monday takeover. So we will be announcing that. Make sure you're in the Holistic Soul Sister private Facebook community. If there's any specific topics or questions that you may have for her, we will link her Facebook page. You can just tag her and ask the question, and I'm sure she will get to them during her Monday takeover. So we're really excited for that. So now I would love to kind of just end this episode with you kind of sharing with us how you help people, kind of what that next process looks like. If anyone is listening and they're like, wow, I feel like this woman could really help me energetically or physically, or even, with my children. What do you feel, to start with, kind of what are some common reasons clients come to you? When they're coming to you, calling you, walking through the doors of your wellness center, what are like the most common things that draw them to you?
Yeah, so I would say probably like 9 times out of 10, people are walking through the door with some physical health concern or goal. So I offer free initial consults. I would say like anywhere from 15 to 45 minutes, just depending on how much I feel like I need to ask you in that initial appointment. But a lot of times they're coming in for, I'm seeing a lot of anxiety, unfortunately, a lot of depression, but then also just like physical health, like weight loss, and we're not really sure of what the root is of going on, but they just know they don't feel good. Like I said, I see you on all levels, so a lot of times we're going to do energetic work with that.
What do you feel is the most popular service? What is the thing that you are practicing the most?
So my energetic balancing sessions have definitely been the most popular service of late. Just because, again, I think I talked about this at the beginning, is we're having such a shift. So people are really, really having to clear out anything that doesn't serve them, so we can go forward in this next phase. This ascension is kind of what we're experiencing. So I'm seeing a lot of people coming in for energetic balancing sessions because they're like, I don't want to feel this way anymore.
Yes. What does one of those sessions look like? Because I know not everyone really, they hear energetic balancing session and they're like, but what do I do? How long does it last? Like, can you kind of share with us a little bit about what that session would look like?
Yes. So I don't have it on me, but I like, first, when you come in for a session, especially if it's your first session, like you've never done any form of energy work before, I really spend time with you, but I still, like, even when it's your first time working with me, I will still go over it, just because it's important to me that you really understand. So I'll sit down with you in my office. I'll just ask you, like, if you've ever experienced any form of energy work. And then I kind of go over how we have energy centers, and I'm going to be checking those to start. So I use a pendulum for that, to check each center just to see whether it's open, closed, just going all wonky. Because it just guides me to see like where initially I need to like focus when I go in. So then I'll just, I tell you like, okay, then like you can either watch for that or not watch, depending on like how you feel, what you're comfortable with. And then I'll have you relax and take some deep breaths and just let yourself slip wherever you need to go during that time. And just like telling people, like, you may see colors, you may have memories and visions come up. You can have emotions that come forward. It's really different, varying per person. And so then you're laying on that table, just like a massage table, essentially. And I just let the energy guide me. And people are like, how do you know, like, where to, and I'm like, I don't, like, it just, something comes over me and I just like know how to move and like what I need to do and where I need to move on your like body, so to say, because I'm never touching you. So that's the other thing. I never touch you during the session, I simply like hold my hands over the top of you and move them how they need to move that energy. And then as I'm doing this, I receive a lot of intuitive guidance on things that are needing to be seen and come forward. So it may be, again, things that you dealt with in childhood, etc. And at the end, then I kind of like wake you up slowly. I always tell people like move slowly because sometimes you get me super dizzy. Some people are fine, but and I have water there for you, just like you would like kind of for a massage too. And then you would come back into my office, and then I go over everything that came up during your session that needs to be seen. There may be physical health advice that my guides share with me. There may be inner child stuff that needs to be seen, or current emotions. So that's kind of like what a session looks like. And then I always tell people, give it a week for sure before you would come see me again, because we would need time to integrate and really process what we learned in that first session, and even making like some of the tweaks and changes that may have come up and be recommended during that. So always giving it a week. And then I do recommend that people always do more than one session, because people can feel like maybe they didn't notice a whole lot, but these things necessarily didn't happen overnight. So we do need to at least give it a few times just to see if it really helps us shift. Because you can't do everything in one session, no matter like who you're seeing. Nothing can be done in one session. So
yeah, that's beautiful. What about for those of us who are not local? Do you still do this virtually?
yes, I will do it virtually too. So obviously it looks a little different, but basically we can do like a Zoom or just like by phone call. Phone call usually works better, just because I don't really need to see you, so to say, to perform this on you. But I just would call you. And the sessions are an hour. I don't think I said that. I don't. So sessions are an hour long, whether it's virtual or in person. And if you're like at home and you're wanting to do this, I just say like have a comfortable place that you can lie down, so you can truly relax into the session, and making sure like there's no distractions, right? Like as a mom, like I definitely couldn't do this like with my kids running around, because I would not be in it. And you really want to be in this, to really just like be like energetically available, so to say, for me to truly tap into that and what you're dealing with, and just to be able to send that healing energy to you. So typically a phone call, and you just kind of chill there, and then again same thing, like I've talked to you after and everything, just like what I found. And
Beautiful. What are some other services that people can sign up for that you offer?
yeah, so I offer intuitive wellness consults as well. So those are going to be more like if you're looking for physical, like health help, setting up like a healthy lifestyle, like as far as like your eating, or if you're needing any like sort of like functional testing. I do offer a few things, not very many, but there are a couple things that I offer for that. But just even like recommending like different supplements you can add into your life. Just really dependent again on what you're dealing with, and everyone's journey is so different. That often like a question that'll come up is like, well, do you just have like a set program for everyone? And I'm like, no, absolutely not. Because your journey is so different from someone else's. So, and just to knowing that, like, if we work together in an intuitive wellness consult, like, what may come forward as the physical health thing that you think may be like hiding something else. So sometimes we have to switch those recommendations too as you get into your journey, because there may be a deeper level that was kind of hidden by some top symptoms, but there's actually some underlying things going on. So those are really the two services that I focus on. I do have like some programs on my website as well, that and meditations that I've done. So those are some other things on there. And then I have an exciting thing coming up. So
Yeah. Do you want to share anything that you have coming up or any future projects that you're working on behind the scenes that you want to give us a little sneak peek into?
yes. So I'm so excited about this. I'm going to be launching on June 14th a 4-week course called It's All Divine. And we're really going to be going in and helping you nourish your intuitive gifts. What it is, how to use it, how it can change your life. You guys, this is so life changing when you really start to like see how much we're being guided all the time. There's so much beauty. The misconceptions. There'll be some like fun homework. I say homework, but just fun things too to help you like step into those gifts and, like I said, really change your life by just becoming more in tune with your gifts and life and everything happening around you. It is divine, and that's where the name of this program was birthed, because everything around you, it's all divine, and it's
So
so
beautiful.
beautiful, so beautiful.
Ooh, I can't wait to hear the transformation of the participants that go through it. Because, I mean,
Yeah,
4 weeks, you can change a lot in 4 weeks.
you can. Yeah, and then I'm also going to be launching some new sessions. There's still going to be energetic balancing sessions, but we're going to be focusing on our pregnant mamas. So there's going to be a prenatal package for them, and also postnatal, where during both things, even in prenatal, we are focusing on the energy for not only mama but baby in utero and then after, so that we can live that light life from the get-go. As soon as babies are conceived and before they come in, they're little energetic beings, so they need all the support to, even while in utero. And obviously with birth, there can be things that happen, and we want to, if there's anything traumatic, we definitely want to clear those out too, so that it doesn't go forward with them. So
This is the first I'm even hearing of this, and
yes,
I'm not a mama, but beautiful. Like anyone I know that is expecting a little one, I'm like, listen, you have got to go to Brooke because this little one is coming into a challenging world. Let's give them all the light that they need to help others heal. So
yes, this is for
beautiful.
new earth children. So, and
Yes.
obviously mamas that are a key piece to supporting those babies. And obviously we want our dads, to experience this too. But yeah.
Beautiful. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So, where can our Holistic Soul Sisters find you besides being in our private Facebook community? How can they reach out to you directly? And then when they reach out to you, what does that process kind of look like? What are kind of their next steps?
Yeah. So I'm on Instagram at myinnerwellness is my tag. I'm also on Facebook. I have a Facebook group too as well, My Inner Wellness. And I'm always sharing content, just basically what feels like energetically it needs to come forward, and the messages and downloads that I receive that are important for the collective to hear. And then also you can always find me on my website, which is brookepetke.podia.com. So that is another place. And then feel free to reach out and DM me. If you book an appointment, or go on that website, my contact information is on there as well. If you want to reach out by phone or email, with any questions, that is always available to you. But usually for people coming in for the first time, I will do an intuitive consult with you. Like I said, that free initial consult for 15 to 45 minutes, just really depending on what all feels like I need clarity on and what comes forward. So, and then we'll jump in with like my recommendation on which route we're thinking. So,
Love that. I love that you tailor it. And all of her contact information will be linked in the show notes. So if you're listening to the podcast, you'll find it in the show notes. If you're watching this on YouTube, again, just click the description box and you can reach out to her directly. So to wrap up our episode and our time together, it has been beautiful. It has been wonderful. I'm so grateful for you. I would love for you to share any last piece of advice that you have for our holistic soul sisters as they log off to this episode and move on through their day in their journey on this planet. What is some advice that you would love to share with them for them to hold on to?
I just feel like really, even through the pain, there's so much beauty. And when we think we're at rock bottom, know that like even at rock bottom, we get to rise. You don't even know what's possible for you. You think you do, but you don't. And it's just waiting for you. So get out there and explore, change your life. Know that like the possibilities for you are endless. So just really being open and trying not to control what happens in your life, but leaning in and trusting that all pieces of your journey is just so magical, and it's happening for a reason, even when we can't understand. So
Thank you for that. It's always a reminder that we need to hold on to because, yes, you're right. Sometimes things get dark and we feel lost or we feel hopeless. And it's just the reminder that it's not. And the best is yet to come, right?
yes, always.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for being here. I'm just so grateful for you. And I look forward to your Monday takeover in our Facebook group.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. This has been so magical and I appreciate it so much.